lights are on bright, it is time to dance. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show you live for. It is GINORMOUS. Now, this is going to be another recorded episode. I've been putting a lot of thought into it since the last time I had one of these recorded episodes, and I was thinking that the live streams that I do may be a little bit more of a specialty thing, and as time goes on and as time goes along and the evolution of GINORMOUS does continue, I am thinking that a lot more of these episodes will be recorded for your viewing pleasures on your own leisurely time, and then during special times or whenever I'm feeling it. It doesn't have to be a quote unquote special occasion, but whenever I'm feeling it, whenever I think the time is right, that's when the live streams will happen. So it is not a guarantee that I'm going to just do this forever. And who knows, maybe tomorrow I'll change my mind and be like, okay, I'm only doing live streams. But for the common time, this is what I'm thinking right now. And let's get into it, because there is a topic that I would like to talk about today that I think could lead to some, I wouldn't say issues, but could lead to a lot of controversy for the Boston Celtics in the future. So, Jaylen Brown, a couple of days ago, on an interview with Noah Dalzell, first of all, a tremendous job by her getting the answers that I'm about to read out loud to you to come out of Jaylen Brown's mouth. A lot of times, whenever you interview an athlete, they give the generic, I'll do what's best for the team, I'm just trying to win, I'll do this, I'll do that. They give the very team appropriate answers that the team constructs for them or that they construct for themselves. So, first thing right off the bat, I would just like to say, great job to Noah Dalzell for asking the proper questions that Jaylen Brown could answer like this. So, Jaylen Brown, quote, in an interview with Noah Dalzell, said this in regards to his time in Boston and how he feels about kind of how he's been used and so on and so forth. It's been a long journey here in Boston, Brown said. I've had to deal with a lot. I feel like I haven't been able to be myself in certain capacities because of the politics and because maybe people feel uncomfortable with who I am. He continued, I disagree with a lot of things. I've had to change roles, styles, I've had to do things that other players of my talent just haven't had to do. And I've been okay with them because I've always been a team guy. I feel like sometimes that gets taken for granted. I'm extremely grateful that we won the championship. I'm extremely grateful that we've been able to have success, and that's what it's about. It's not all about you. It's not all about me. You know what I mean? I want the next generation to know that as well. It's okay to play a role on the team. It's okay to do whatever, but don't let that define you. So, first things first aside, before I delve into this, he mentioned the word politics. He said the word politics. I'm just going to say right off the bat, if there's anything in that comments that he made or in those comments that he made that has to do with true politics in regards to like his stances or views on things in society, I'm not going to get into it. That's not what this show is about. This show is not one that delves into real world or real life things that goes on in the world. This show is about sports and then eventually other things as I get more comfortable. So I just want to say, if he, like I said, anything with actual politics in regards to the Oval Office, whatever, that's not what I'm going to be covering. That's not what I have any interest in talking about on this show. So that aside, if that's what it is, that's a foregone conclusion for here. But it seems to me like Jaylen Brown is not happy with the way that he's being used on this team. Now, it can be a couple of things. It could be the Missoula ball, where they just shoot a lot of threes and play defense, like the 5-out type of style, ISO ball, and just whoever passing it to the open man. And that's something that he potentially is not happy with. And honestly, I don't blame him. And when he says politics, that also could mean he's not happy with the fact that Jason Tatum is kind of viewed as that 1A on this team, and Jaylen Brown is viewed as the 1B. Perhaps, and this is just me speculating, but perhaps he feels as though since he was the Finals MVP and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP the year they won the championship, he feels as though he should be viewed as that 1A, and Jason Tatum should not. And I'm not going to say that him and Jason Tatum have like a real life beef, because for years there was so much talk about can't they win a championship? Will they be able to execute it? And you know what? To their credit, they did. That doesn't mean that they're the best buds off the court. That doesn't mean they have to get along 24/7. But they did what a lot of doubters said they couldn't do. They silenced them, and they have that championship hardware forever and always in their career. So I'm not here to say that he thinks that Jason Tatum sucks, that Jason Tatum's the worst player ever, but I do think he feels a little bit slighted. And even though he has a lot more championship hardware or hardware in general than Jason Tatum in his trophy case, I still think from the Boston fan base, he doesn't believe he's getting the respect that he deserves. Now, again, whether or not he feels as though the Boston fans, because if you live in Boston, which I live in the New England area, people all know that Boston at one point in time did have a reputation against certain players. Obviously, I believe a lot of that has changed. So maybe Jaylen Brown is kind of using that and really just thinks that, okay, I feel a certain way there. Again, that's something I'm just going to gloss over. And maybe in terms of politics, again, he feels as though the team is 100% backing Jason Tatum, and he's not happy about that. My question to you guys, and my question to all the viewers, to all the listeners, and all the fans, Celtics fans, GINORMOUS fans, any fan, do these quotes that I read off to you sound like a player that wants to stay in the Boston Celtics organization? And let me do you one better. If Jason Tatum was fully healthy and ready to go into next season, would Jaylen Brown had requested a trade? I want that to kind of think about it. I know that it can be a lot of snap, like, no, absolutely not. But it does beg the question. Since all those comments that he just made were very strong, they were strong, and he was saying he's not happy. He said it's been a long road, and he disagrees with a lot of the things that the team goes about and the way they choose to go about their business. Does what he said indicate at all that he wants to stay with the Boston Celtics? I don't think so. And as those comments have kind of arisen, I've gotten the thought, and I've came to kind of the theory, that if Jason Tatum was fully healthy into this season and the Celtics were ready to kind of run it back, if you will, I don't think he would have wanted to stay here, and I think he would have requested a trade. It's a bit of a hot take, I know, but I don't understand how you could look at what he said and believe that he wants to stay. I think that he's staying here, and I think that he's letting it be known that he's not happy here. But Jason Tatum is not going to be healthy next season. It won't be healthy until close to the playoffs, I'd say, next year, if at all. And he won't even be his true self, I don't believe, unless he makes this miraculous comeback. I think that the only reason Jaylen Brown is staying with the Boston Celtics this season is because he's going to have the chance to be that 1A. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think that this is kind of a prove-it year for himself. I mean, not in terms of a contract, because at one point he was the highest paid player in NBA history, but I think in terms of kind of a, rehearsal, if you will, for the rest of the league, that's what Jaylen Brown is doing with the Celtics team, because the Celtics still have a decent amount of talent around them. They're definitely not going to be slouches, and they're going to be in the playoff mix. I don't think they're going to be championship contenders. I could be wrong, but they are going to be in the playoffs, and I do believe that they have every capability in the world of getting to at least the second round, if not the Eastern Conference Finals once again. I do believe they have that capabilities, especially in such a weak East this year. But again, I think that this year, Jaylen Brown is going to utilize this season with the Boston Celtics being the 1A, and I think he's using this season as kind of a tryout for other teams in the league to see and to prove to them that he can be the 1A on a championship team, a number one option on a team that makes it to the finals, whether it be Eastern Conference, Western Conference. I don't know. I'm not so sure if that's relevant to him. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I really do believe in my heart of hearts that Jaylen Brown will not be here within the next 2 seasons. And that's a huge kind of change to the take that I've made in the past, because I've been on the record here on GINORMOUS, I've been on the record on Conti and Nick, saying that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, if the Boston Celtics need a chance to win the championship, need to be on this team. They need to be a cohesive unit together, and the role pieces around them may change, but as long as you have those two in your core, you have a chance. And look, again, I don't want it to happen. My stance from a personal standpoint of what I want as a fan is, yes, I want those two together because I want the Boston Celtics to be together as long as humanly possible. I mean, if you're a fan of any basketball team for that matter, why wouldn't you want that for your franchise? Why wouldn't you want that for your team? But with those comments that I read earlier in this show, do you believe that Jaylen Brown is happy here? Do you believe that Jaylen Brown wants to remain a Celtic for life? Do you believe that Jaylen Brown is dedicated to this team? Or do you just think that Jaylen Brown is here now because he has the chance to be the number one option on this team, and this is a tryout year for himself? So that way in the future, maybe next year, maybe the year after, who knows, he can get traded and finally get what he wants. The man has gone in public, on record, to a reporter whose job it is to get views and clicks and quotes like this that create sparks, that create controversy. He did it with no fear. Now, Jaylen Brown is a very outspoken individual. He's somebody who's not afraid to put himself in the limelight on things that he believes to be true. And look, I'm not a shut up and dribble person. I do believe that people have the right to say whatever they want to say. That does not matter to me. Say whatever you want. Take whatever stances you want. As long as it's not hurting other people, it doesn't matter. But I've said it about 3 times. I'm going to ask you again. Do the quotes that Jaylen Brown said that I read off earlier in this show indicate to you that Jaylen Brown wants to remain a member of the Boston Celtics organization? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, we can sit here on another show or even on this show and debate what exactly we would have to get in return for him, what we would want it to be, if we'd want it to be a ton of picks so we can kind of reset, kind of like we did back all the way in 2012 with Paul Pierce, KG, Jason Terry. We could others obviously decide if we want to get a haul like that, or if we would get a bunch of young talent that's ascending, a bunch of young players, maybe poach some people off of OKC who's been tremendous at drafting lately, but who knows with their cap space. Again, I'm not going to sit here, I'm not going to play fantasy GM because I really don't know when an appropriate, besides it would have to be a king's ransom. Let me just say that. Let me clarify. It can't be, for nickels on the dime. It can't be for anything. We can't be trading all like horses for a pony. We can't be doing all that. We can't lose the trade. But we would want it to be picks, or would we want it to be a bunch of young talent plus picks, or another elite talent in return, and then plus some role players? I don't know. I don't know. But all I'm going to say is, on this show right now, I do not want Jaylen Brown to leave. I want Jaylen Brown to remain a member of the Boston Celtics organization for years, and I really hope that this all blows over. I really do in my heart of hearts, because I love to watch Jaylen Brown play. He's my personal favorite player on the Boston Celtics right now, because I love the way he plays, I love his mentality on the court, and I love his attitude. But is that long for this city? I don't know. That's a question for all of you guys to answer. That's a question for all of you guys to think about. And surprisingly, I haven't heard too much from a lot of the media about these comments. And to me, we're not making enough of a big deal out of this as we should be. To me, if you're a Boston Celtics fan, this is extremely concerning. That's all I wanted to talk to you guys today about. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I hope Jaylen Brown gets a lot better with his attitude and keeps the green on, because I'd love to see number 7 in the rafters. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a tremendous day, a tremendous week, and a tremendous weekend. And thank you for watching.